Hello and welcome to freephotoshop.com. This week we're going to be looking at navigation and the many ways we can speed up our workflow inside Photoshop by knowing some of the different ways to move around the screen. And believe me, this is going to be a real time saver, especially if you don't rely on the abundance of shortcuts available for these chores. I'm going to start by opening up this document, which is a photograph of Las Vegas at night. And you can see the world famous strip running right through the middle of the picture. And I'm taking this, by the way, from the top of the Stratosphere Tower, which is absolutely huge. And if you've ever been to Las Vegas, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It literally dwarfs all the other hotels. It really is that massive. Okay, I'm going to come over here to the Windows menu and select the navigator. And then I'm going to bring it over onto the screen and open it up a touch. That looks good. Now you can see the image we have is open inside the navigator, and we get this red stroke dynamically keeping track of what portion of the image we can see inside the actual document window. So I can use the slider over here to zoom in or out of the image. I can zoom in and out incrementally as well by hitting the zoom icons at each end of the slider. And if I control click and drag or command click and drag on the Mac, I can specify an area or a region that I want to zoom into. Now notice when the mouse is hovered above the navigator, it changes into a hand icon, and that allows me to grab the view area, which is the red box, and move it anywhere inside the image. I can also hold down the shift key to constrain the movements to vertical and horizontal. I've also got this standard percentage box down here in the bottom left corner, where I can manually enter the view size I want to arrive at. And that's handy if I want to return, say, for example, to the 100% view size, to see every pixel the image contains. Finally, if the image contains lots of reds, and you'd rather the red stroke displayed in another colour, you can come up here to the wing menu, select Palette Options, and then change the colour to something more unique. Okay, I'm going to just cancel out of there for the time being. Now remember that anything we do here inside the navigator palette is reflected inside the actual document window. And that's the whole point of having the navigator here in the first place, is to help us navigate images here inside of Photoshop. And it's going to become even more crucial as cameras gain more and more pixels year on year. The larger the image, the more you're going to need the navigator palette and your navigation skills to find your way around. Okay, I'm going to move the navigator over to the right here so we can focus on finding our way around directly inside the document window. Firstly and most basically, we have the standard scroll bars, which I'm sure can be found on every computer on the planet. They allow us to move the image up and down. We can also use the keyboard to do the same thing. Page up moves the image up, page down moves the image down. Holding the control key on the PC or command on the Mac and the page up and page down buttons allow us to move left and right. We can also hold down the shift key whilst holding down any of them combinations to move up, down, left and right in smaller increments. We also have the option of zooming in or out of the image by using Ctrl+ on the keyboard to zoom in and Ctrl- on the keyboard to zoom out. And that's Command+ and Command- on the Mac, by the way. Better still, we can zoom in more accurately by Control spacebar clicking, or zoom out more accurately by Alt spacebar clicking. That's Command spacebar to zoom in on the Mac and Option spacebar to zoom out on the Mac as well. Okay, we've got our standard view size box down here in the bottom left, where we can enter the view size just like we did inside the navigator panel. We can enter it as a percentage, so 100% once again brings us to the point where every screen pixel is occupied by an image pixel. Okay, if we move over to the Tools palette, we've got two navigation tools down here above the background foreground colour boxes. The one on the right is the Zoom tool, and when we select it we get an options bar up here to make changes to how we use the tool. The most notable one is the zoom in, zoom out option, just here, which we can toggle depending on where we want to go. We also get the option of resizing the document window as we zoom. So as the image gets larger, the window will expand to fill the screen, subject to whether or not we are ignoring palettes. If we have more than one document open, we can choose to zoom all the documents at the same rate as we're affecting the active one, and we can do that by checking the Zoom All Windows box just here. Next we have 3 buttons which allow us to view the image at their respective pixel rates. Actual Pixels views the image at 100% view size, so 1 image pixel is displayed for every screen pixel. Fit Screen simply fits the image onto the screen, and Print Size displays the image at the measurements you've selected in the image size dialog box. To find out more about printing size, then check out my other tutorial, Image Size and Resolution. Another good way of zooming into a specific part of the image is to drag around it with the zoom tool selected, just like so. Now if I select the zoom out tool from up here in the options bar and click inside the image to zoom out, Photoshop will also try to center the image relative to where I'm clicking, by the way. And if you want to zoom in, you can do that by alt-clicking the image to swap the zoom tool to its opposite. So if you're clicking with the zoom out tool, it's going to zoom out. If you alt-click, it's going to zoom in. And the exact opposite is also true. So I'm zooming out here by alt-clicking the image. Okay, I'm going to zoom in once again, and then I'm going to select the hand tool from over here in the tools palette, and this allows me to drag the document window around to where I want it to be. One of the best tips I can give you for navigating inside Photoshop is spacebar dragging. I'm going to hit M on the keyboard to select the marquee tool, just as an example. Now, even though I have another tool selected, I can still hold down the spacebar and drag the image around. And that's priceless, if you ask me. By the way, you can quickly get to the 100% view size by double-clicking the zoom tool. We can likewise double left-click the hand tool to fit the whole document onto the screen. Now, while we're on the subject of zooming and dragging, I want to show you the way that I work inside of Photoshop. So we'll go up to the Edit menu and select Preferences from the bottom here, and we're going to go for General. Now, the preference we're interested in here is this one over here on the bottom right, Zoom with Scroll Wheel, which is turned off as default. Now, I have this switched on, and I can honestly say that I really couldn't think of working in any other way. I'm going to OK out of here and just show you how easy things are with this option selected. I can first of all just make the document active by just clicking on the document bar. I can then zoom in by scrolling up. I can spacebar drag the image around, and then I can scroll out by scrolling the mouse wheel down, and it really is as simple as that. Now, I know this is going to be more difficult on the Mac, but I've got to say, if I did have a Mac, and I haven't, I've got to admit, but if I did, I'd go out there and I'd buy myself a mouse with a scroll wheel just to get this functionality going. Okay, we're nearly finished. I've just got a few more things to highlight. Firstly, if you're finding the screen a little cluttered, you can press the Tab key to lose everything but the document and the menu buttons. We can press Tab once again to bring everything back. We can also press the Shift Tab combination to keep the options bar and the tools palette, but lose all the other palettes. Once again, Shift Tab brings them back again. If you want the general palettes but not the tools palette and the options bar, try pressing Tab and then Shift Tabbing. Okay, finally over here in the tools palette, between the quick mask tools and the jump to image ready button, we have 3 screen modes, and the one on the left is the normal mode, which is the one we're working in now. The middle one allows us to switch to full screen mode but keep the menu bar, and the one on the right switches us to the full-blown full screen mode. We can switch between the 3 modes by hitting F on the keyboard, and we can use these in conjunction with the tab controls I showed you a moment ago. Well, I'm bound to have missed a few things, but hopefully I've included everything you need to get you navigating Photoshop like a true pro. Well, I hope you found it helpful. Thanks very much for watching.